Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkie and Drury, brought to you as always by our friends at CoolBet Canada, our friends over at the Listowel Squash Courts and See the Game and Listowel Vision Care. We've got a great special guest on the show this week, a proud native of Thunder Bay, the host of Leafs Lunch on TSN 1050, and one of the best young talents that we have in this country in sports broadcasting. Julia Tocheri is joining us. Julia, how are you?
That was a seriously good introduction, especially the Thunder Bay point. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here, Ryan.
I'm happy to have you. I know we've been trying to get you on the show for a little while, and obviously we don't want to interrupt your Leaf fandom, so we made sure that we did this on a night when they're off. I guess first things first, it's your first year hosting Leafs Lunch. I know that it's kind of a storied franchise, if you will, over at TSN 1050. Of course, Hayes and the boys used to host that before they became Overdrive. Andy and Craig were hosting it. And now you and a gentleman named Al's brother, Mike DiStefano, take the reins. Personally, I think you guys are absolutely crushing it. It's such a fun show to listen to. I definitely think you guys are tapping into kind of the younger market. What's it been like taking that show over and working with Al's brother?
Well, you have it right in saying that it was some seriously big shoes to fill. Andy Petrillo was someone that I watched when I was coming up through high school and university as someone that I kind of looked at and was like, you know what, I would love to be her and have her job. So sitting in the host seat at Leafs Lunch is crazy. And obviously Hayes and the Overdrive boys are legends themselves. Me and Al's brother have been having a heck of a time. I have to be honest with you. And I think I'd like to think that it shows through in our broadcast because honestly, I didn't know him very well at all when we found out we were hosting together. I knew him like you know him as the legend from Overdrive, Al's brother. And the Bar Down group works across the Agent Court is like a compound where the TSN offices are. So Bar Down kind of has a separate kind of space there. So he was just a legend across the way at the 1050 building with the Overdrive boys. We get along really, really well. We both provide kind of different perspectives and we've been having a ton of fun so far. And the response has been really good too. I've really been enjoying getting to know kind of the audience and what they like to hear. And then of course the Leafs never allow for a night off, always providing entertainment and an emotional roller coaster for us during the season and during the games. So that helps too when there's lots to talk about. But so far it's been a blast. I feel really lucky to be in this spot because like I said, Andy was someone who I would watch at lunch when I would come home from university classes. So it's crazy to be in that spot right now.
And it's cool too, right? Because I mean, we're filming this the day after International Women's Day. And I mean, I personally, I think it's great that, TSN and the higher ups there chose you to kind of follow in Andy's footsteps after she did such a great job with the show. It's nice to be able to see so many more opportunities open up within the sports broadcasting world for women. Because I mean, Julia, like you said, you looked up to Andy and we need people like that. We need, young girls to want to get into the industry. And so you watching Andy and I'm sure Jennifer Hedger and Kate Burness, TSN has really led the way. I mean, when I was a kid, you grew up watching and there were some female reporters and analysts, but not that many. Like Pam Oliver comes to mind for sure. Yeah. Erin Andrews. Now the landscape's a lot more wide open, isn't it? And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier for me coming up than it would have been even in the last 5 or 10 years. I think it's been really different. Like it would have been, Andy's not that much older than me. It would have been really different for Andy coming up and hosting a radio show. I honestly have the privilege of like not having to think about it too much. I played hockey all the way up, mostly boys hockey. So being the only girl in the room was kind of always a part of my MO. I played boys hockey till bantam. Like who plays boys hockey till bantam? Why did I let it go on that long? But I was kind of used to kind of having a chip on my shoulder, being the only girl in the room. So I suppose I have a lifetime of conditioning of being in kind of a male dominated space. But you're right in saying that it is so much more wide open now. It used to be, and I was talking about this a lot yesterday during a whole bunch of International Women's Day chats. It used to be that there only really was room for one woman on every desk or one woman on every broadcast. And now there's space for more people. And it it created kind of hostility between women and competition between women. And it's just not the case anymore. The best people are getting hired. The most qualified people are getting hired. And that's mostly as a result of representation. If I didn't see Andy Petrillo, if I didn't see Kate Burness, if I didn't see Chris Simpson on TV, when I realized I wasn't going to the NHL in like grade 10, whenever that was, whenever I came to that realization, I probably wouldn't have known that broadcast could even be an option for me. So representation is so important, and I'm lucky that I grew up having that, and I feel really lucky to provide that for whoever's watching me now.
Now, speaking of growing up, I did mention that you are a proud native of Thunder Bay, beautiful area of the country. If you've never been, I love going up north. How did you get into sports as a kid up there? I mean, because Thunder Bay, beautiful place. It's a little remote, and there's not exactly, you know, access to things and resources like we have down south here toward the GTA. How did you first get involved in sports? And obviously it's stall country up there. I'm sure maybe they had something to do with that.
It's stall country for sure. You know, that's a good point. When the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup in 2006 and Eric Stahl brought the cup home to Thunder Bay, I was raised a Leaf fan. Like, my dad put a jersey on me, I think, at the hospital and a little stick in my hand. But when Eric Stahl signed my Carolina Hurricanes mini stick in 2006, I had a Hurricanes moment. I'm not going to lie. And the Hurricanes are pretty good right now. So little Julia had something going on there. You're right in saying that Thunder Bay is obviously a gorgeous area of the world. Very remote indeed. But the one thing that we do have an abundance of up there is hockey. I feel like my entire youth was dominated by hockey, whether we were doing it outside. Like, did everyone have elementary school skates? Like, during school when you were a kid, you'd go outside to the outdoor rink at school and you'd skate for like half the morning. I don't know if that's like exclusively a Thunder Bay prerequisite part of the curriculum, but
we did it. We certainly did it.
Okay, good. I've had kind of a stick in my hand and skates on my feet since I was old enough to waddle around out there, and just became part of my life forever. Most of my memories growing up, elementary school, high school, all revolve around hockey. I've worked in hockey since I was able to have a job, and by that I mean, like, I was a ref, I was a timekeeper, I coached a AA Adam team with my dad one year when my dad was the president of a local minor hockey association. And the coaches of the team pulled out last second, and him and I coached this Adam team together. Like, the Bad News Bears brought them on the road to Minneapolis. My mom tells a hilarious story about when I was a really little kid, like maybe 7 years old. And at the time, she had me in ballet lessons. I know I got the tight ballet bun kind of going right now, but it just wasn't my thing. And I was also playing hockey at the same time. And my mom, apparently my dad was reading me a bedtime story, and my mom walked past the room and she heard me say to my dad, you know what, I really think dancing is fun, but I wish I could only play hockey. And my mom always said she wouldn't have believed him. And she's lucky she actually heard it with her own ears, but she knew I made the call, and I made that call when I was 7 years old, and I've just been kind of making it ever since.
Well, it's worked out well for you. Of course, I know. Additionally, you are an in-game host with the Mississauga Steelheads. They're having a pretty fun year in the CHL. They're definitely a contender. It's unfortunate for me doing Guelph Storm games that the East and West aren't playing each other this year, so I only get to kind of watch them on TV. But you did that for a while. And it's worth mentioning, too, you've been part of the Bar Down crew for a while, and, I mean, that's where I was first exposed to your work. You and Marissa Roberto, who's been on the show before as well. We love Marissa here. And Corbin and Zach and the whole crew. How could we forget Jesse, of course, with his screaming? That's where I first noticed all you guys, really. And, what was that like, joining that crew and kind of, making your way up the TSN food chain, as it were?
I love the Bar Down crew. Like, the Bar Down crew are my day one OG kind of group. It's a really unique space in sport media. I did an interview with The Athletic not that long ago, and Sean, who I was interviewing with, referred to it as kind of TSN's farm system. It used to be like people would work in local media and try to make their way to TSN. It's just kind of too hard now, mostly because local media has been totally gutted, which is the worst thing ever, but that's a totally separate conversation. I started at Bar Down when I was in third year university. Lots of us are Ryerson Sport Media grads. They were looking to expand the team a little bit, and one of the guys who was older working in our graphic department remembered me from school, brought me in for an interview, and our hiring manager and the creator of Bar Down, Dave, brought me on, said, all right, let's give her a shot, Thunder Bay. And it's been a ton of fun. It's so unique. I was saying that it's really unique. One, we're like all under 30, just around 30 years old and under. So it's a really young group. It's a really diverse group. And I think that's more representative of what hockey fans look like now. Like, hockey has become more diverse, and I think that hockey media also has to become more diverse. And Bar Down, no matter how you feel about Bar Down is one of the only places in hockey that exists where you can have, like, our staff split is almost even between men and women, which is just unheard of in any other sports space. Like, if I go to TSN 1050, if I go to the TV side of TSN, it's not like that. Anywhere I've worked in the OHL, it's not like that. But Bar Down is even split boys and girls, people of different like races, people of different religions. And that's what hockey fans look like now. They're a really mixed bag of people. So I think it's nice that there's an outlet that's representative of all those different people. And just the group itself is really, really good. We're so excited. We finally get to go back to the office pretty soon. Apparently, we've been told we get to go back to the office a whole bunch of times. It's so much more fun to create and just make content when we can all be together in the same room. Oh, so many people have been saying that there has been quizzes and things like that in a while. It's so hard when we're all remote still. But being in the office together, working collaboratively, it's such a unique environment. I honestly haven't really experienced any. I kind of took it for granted at first because Bar Down was kind of the first media job that I was exposed to. Of course, I worked for the Marlies in university. I did like fan experiences. I did overnights at Sportsnet during the Olympics, but my first real actual job in the industry was Bar Down. And I'm kind of spoiled for that because I got to come up in a really, really good environment that was supportive. And we were talking about International Women's Day, and I don't know, I have mixed feelings about the day because it's kind of like, one-offs kind of happen that day. You do an all-female broadcast, and it's like, okay, where do we go from here after International Women's Day? Like, what are we going to do to create something really meaningful and sustainable? And I feel so good about working at Bar Down because we honestly integrate so many people's ideas, diverse ideas, and thoughts every day. So it really is sustainable and meaningful change. And I think hockey media kind of needs that.
I completely agree. And I mean, like I said, I love the work you guys do. I've been enjoying it for years, like many others. The crew's great. Jesse is always making sure we're on our volume buttons on the computer for sure. I should mention, small world. We were not really co-workers, but we were very briefly working in the same building at one time. I don't know if you remember or were even aware of when Dark Guy briefly had a fan chat show.
Oh, I do. I remember. Yeah.
I was his co-host for a brief time. After Todd Shapiro left, for some reason, they enrolled my services. We were briefly in the same space. So who knows? Maybe we will be again someday. It's a small world, right?
Yeah.
I do want to dig into the team you cover, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Who else? Those guys. They're fun to watch, but I mean, I'm sure you could probably gather based on what's in the background of my screen. I'm not a Leaf fan.
Gotcha.
But you can't not pay attention. I'm sure for you being a fan of the team and covering it, you get a bit of a unique perspective on things, and they are fun to watch, but boy, this week, even the 2 wins, they're frustrating sometimes. What's up with this team, Julia?
Oh, it's an age-old question, Ryan, isn't it? Like, why can't they find any sort of consistency? I was being a bit of an apologist today on the show. The Avs blew a lead to the Devils last night. Tampa blew a lead to Winnipeg. The schedule's really hard right now. So that's a factor, and it's something I'm sure we'll talk about goaltending because it factors in big time. But I'm sure that's factoring into Jack Campbell's struggles as well. He's never played a full season in the NHL, never mind a full condensed season in the NHL. So I think that's probably fatigue is factoring into a lot of things. What is going on with the Leafs? I don't know. It's an excellent question. The second line got 2 goals last night. Nylander scored, Tavares scored. They didn't do much other than that. Nylander had just an egregious turnover on the power play, that backhand sauce that ended up going down the other way for a shorthanded goal. I think I don't know. Is it immaturity that results in a lack of consistency? The one thing that I will say, they haven't. And then obviously the injury to Jake Muzzin was such a huge blow. And not just the injury to Jake Muzzin, but Jake Muzzin not really playing this season like the Jake Muzzin that the Leafs are used to the luxury of having, right? Him and Hall were such a shutdown pair last year, and this year they just couldn't get it together. So that wasn't something that Kyle Dubas was expecting to have to address. So all of these things together do not result in the most gorgeous thing for the Leafs. And then there's also the factor that they're probably going to have to play one of Tampa or Florida in the first round, which is also a little scary. And also their tendency to play down to the teams that they're playing. Like they play Arizona tomorrow night. They played Seattle last night. They played the Blue Jackets Monday night. These should all, the Leafs are, whatever you think of the Leafs, they have some of the top caliber talent in the league. They should stomp on all 3 of those teams. And that just hasn't really been the case. Like they lost to Buffalo last week in kind of an embarrassing fashion. That crazy game in Detroit just before that. I don't know why this happens. But I will say that they have found consistency in one place in their lineup, and it is that top line. Like, God, I could talk about that top line all day. So nice to see them find consistency there. If they could find it anywhere else specifically, and I know goaltending and defense is kind of a chicken and egg argument, but they really haven't been able to get anything from their goaltending. Like just league average goaltending would be hugely beneficial at this point.
It certainly would. And I mean, we've all seen the stats since the start of the new year. They've got the worst even strength save percentage, whatever. We could dive into that. The stats are the stats, but I agree. Obviously the workload, it looks like it's affecting Jack a little bit, but like the guy was an all-star and he was in the Vezina conversation earlier this year. And sure, he's fallen out of it, but I wouldn't give up on that guy just yet. I will say, and it always bugs my Leaf friends, especially guys like Dark Guy, when I compare the Leafs to my beloved Capitals, I see a lot of similarities, man.
Dude, me too. Yeah,
I really do.
Like, I think this team is just under such a microscope, and I'm calling myself out right now because I am the Toronto media that puts them under this microscope, and their fan base is the biggest fan base in every league. So, and Kyle Dubas was talking about this too. Smart guy. We're wearing matching glasses right now. Everything is analyzed on a game-to-game basis in Toronto as opposed to bigger picture. So Tampa, I'm comfortable calling them like a top 3 cup contender. That how could they not be? They're just like a machine. Blows a lead to Winnipeg, who's not in the playoff picture right now and has kind of a mixed bag this season. Colorado is supposed to be one of those top 3, 4, 5 cup contending teams. Blows a lead, loses to Jersey, kind of a garbage team this year again. Sorry, garbage is mean, but not a very good team, not a team that they should be scared of.
It's accurate.
It happens, right? But when you're in the Toronto market, things get analyzed on a game-to-game basis, and things get blown out of proportion as a result of that. And I realize I'm one of the people doing that because I talk about them on the radio every single day, and we have to have a show every single day, so you have to talk about these things. Kind of lost my train of thought.
We were comparing them to the Capitals, Capitals of old.
Yes. Okay, so the Capitals took forever to win. Everybody thought Ovi was a loser for the longest time. They were never going to win. It was trade Ovi. It was this core is not going to do it. And they did it. The Stanley Cup is an extremely difficult trophy to win. The idea that Leaf fans are going into this season thinking win the Stanley Cup or dismantle the core is insane to me because you could have the best team in the league. I don't know who the best team in the league right now is. It's probably, I don't know. The Colorado,
Florida,
both
I guess.
Florida. Yeah, Colorado, both Florida teams and Tampa are kind of in the same category to me. 3 of those teams are going to lose. Like, you know what I mean? Remember when the Blues won? They weren't even close to one of the best teams in the league, but they won. Yeah. I like that Stanley Cup win. It's the redneck in me. I just thought it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so the Stanley Cup is just an extremely hard trophy to win. The best team usually doesn't win it. Unfortunately, it's the team that gets the grittiest in the playoffs, the team that goes on a run. Sometimes a team that has the luxury of getting a goalie that gets really, really hot. It's not always the best team. Tampa is another interesting comparison. Tampa got swept by the Blue Jackets 2 years before they won the Stanley Cup back to back. And they didn't give up on their core. They didn't change much at all. They put out their sad newspaper article. They went about their business. So such is the case of the Toronto Maple Leafs. However, they do face a lot more heat. The thought is this year that if they don't get past the first round, and don't get me wrong, it would be bad if they didn't get past the first round. It would be really bad. They're going to face Tampa. They're going to face one of the Florida teams, probably. And one of those teams are probably, if the best team wins, which I just said they usually don't, one of those teams is probably going to win the cup. So, and if they don't get past the first round, is Dubas out? Most people are saying Dubas is out if they don't get past the first round this year. Most people are saying one of the core four of Nylander, Tavares, Matthews, or Marner. I have a hard time picturing Matthews going anywhere. I have a hard time picturing Marner going anywhere, but maybe the JT contract is going to be hard to move. So it would probably be Willie, maybe Mitch, depending on what you can get return-wise. One of those guys apparently has to go if this doesn't work this year. I don't know if I'm of that opinion, to be honest. I understand the move and I understand, but there's a real lack of patience in this market that I understand. I understand 1967. My dad's been a Leafs fan since he was born. He was born in 1968. Poor bastard.
Oh, no.
Poor bastard. But yeah, I get it. There's a lack of patience, but I totally see. And the Capitals and the Lightning were able to get that grace from ownership and just continue to plug away at it until it worked out. The Leafs are not afforded such grace, and works against them, I think, to be honest.
I completely agree. It's that 50+ year drought that hangs over everything they do from shift to shift, let alone game to game, right? In looking and comparing them for years now to those Capitals before finally they won, thank God they did, because I don't know if I would have been able to stand, all the newspaper articles at the end of his career of Ovi being a loser and he's a bad leader and this and that. Thank God they did it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I want the Leaf fans to experience that, but they look really similar. And the goaltending story to me is starkly similar. Because I can remember that year. I mean, I'm sure you'll remember in 2018, Philip Grubauer started the first 2 games for the Capitals. He was supposed to be the guy, and he's having a tough go in Seattle.
I was just talking about him today. The guy was nominated for a Vezina. Just getting he just looked.
I feel bad for him.
Night. I know.
I don't know what's happened to him. His game's completely deteriorated. But it wasn't that year. He was the guy down the stretch. And then Braden Holtby, who was the guy, Vezina winner, he's done this and that. He won 50 games or whatever. It's, coming down the stretch, he was terrible. He was not good. And then he went in game 3 and the Caps win the cup. I wouldn't give up on Jack yet. And you mentioned the cup being a hard trophy to win. To me, it's still the hardest trophy in club sports to win. One trophy that's not hard to win in Toronto, it looks like nowadays, is the Rocket Richard. Maybe a Hart trophy too. You talk about that top line, and let's dig into the big boy, King Cactus himself. Austin Matthews is a freak, and I can't give higher praise. I don't know if there's a better fan for you to talk to than me, being the big Ovi guy.
Yeah,
the torch. We're watching the torch. Ovi's still scoring lots. The torch is being passed. And this young man is a freak. What a treat it is to cover this guy, eh?
It's really special. Every time, every single night he does something special. I don't know if we appreciate it enough, as crazy as it sounds. He gets a lot of love, especially when he goes on scoring tears, just murder streaks like he's on right now. But I don't know if we appreciate the day-to-day. You mentioned the Hart, and the Hart's been a hot topic. I know Shesterkin has been putting the Rangers on his back all season and just trucking them along, and the Leafs has been on the wrong side of that a couple times this season. But oh my God, Austin Matthews. The biggest argument sits in his two-way game for me. I believe he leads the league in takeaways this season. I don't know if I've ever seen someone strip the puck in the defensive zone, turn around, and create an offensive chance out of it at the same rate Austin Matthews does. It's just insane. His power, his strength, the way he sees the ice, and then obviously the release on that shot is just something else. The heart is not a stretch. The Rocket feels like I want to hand it to him based upon, I was just watching SportsCenter, listening to just what's going on in Edmonton right now. It seems like everything's hit the fan there again. All of a sudden, everything was good after the coaching change for 5 games. And then all of a sudden they've got 2 wins in their last 8 games. So neither of those guys in Edmonton are scaring me for Austin Matthews' Rocket chances right now, or his Hart chances. I was having this argument on my show today. 50 is a given. Yesterday, before he got the hat trick last night, I said, what about 60, Al's brother? Like 60 doesn't feel crazy. I always sometimes forget that Stammer was the last person that got 60. Like it just seems weird to me. Austin Matthews has to hit that at some point, and he's just in such a groove right now. And not just him, but that whole line is clicking at a pace that 60 does not seem like a stretch to me at all.
It doesn't seem like a stretch to me either. I mean, I watched my boy score 65. Stammer, of course, you mentioned it. He was the last one. He got 60 bang on. And I think that was the last day of the season. He got 2 goals against Winnipeg, I think.
Right.
One of them, the game winner, to hit 60. Like 50 is that magic number. 60 is like you're in very rarefied air.
Seriously.
Not a lot of guys that did 60. So that would be extra tasty for Leaf fans. I think he can do it. If he doesn't do it this year, I think he'll do it another year. The kid's just a monster. I'll say to you this, you know, you mentioned his 2-way game. I like him for the Hart for that reason as well. You know, the last guy that was this offensively gifted, I mean, give Alexander Barkov his due credit, but he doesn't have that shot. But the last guy I remember that was this good offensively that could take pucks away, and even he wasn't a big goal scorer. Like Pavel Datsyuk was
That's a good comparison.
He was a freak, and he didn't have the Matthew shot. He would, you know, turn goaltenders into pretzels, but like he that's the type of level we're seeing with this guy. And I don't, and people might be saying, oh, Pavel Datsyuk, but I think it's a pretty fair comparison. And there's probably Selkies in this guy's future too, which is great. I want to ask you one last thing about that top line. Mitch Marner's a freak right now, 39 points in 23 games now heading into last night's game. He's on fire. This Bunting kid, I mean, you know, they lose Zach Hyman. They bring this kid in from Arizona, one of the worst franchises in pro sports. And he was okay for them. Like he's a 10-goal guy. Thought, he's a decent player. Jeez, like I think he probably, if it's not Moritz Seider, why can't Bunting? I know there's a lot of argument about this. Why can't he be the guy to win the Calder? What are your thoughts?
Why not, where do you stand on the age argument for the Calder? Because
I don't care. I don't care.
I don't really care either.
I agree. Like back in the day, like Makarov winning at 31 was a little silly. Like he was a professional hockey player for a long time. He's 25, 26. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's goofy. Over 30, sure. Like, you know, free agency age. I don't have a problem with it.
No, and you know what? He's deserving of every accolade that he's getting this year. What a Kyle Dubas. I know people have mixed feelings about him because he's young and he has kind of a different approach, but holy God, what a signing. And he's had a couple of these reclamation projects. Nick Ritchie is an example of one that didn't work out, but 2 rips in Arizona last night. I guess he just needed a change of scenery. Michael Bunting is an incredible character in hockey. I love his story. I love how he's from Scarborough. He played double A, kind of A all the way up, had somebody notice him to get him out to the Sioux to play junior, and then obviously on to Arizona. He is an incredibly hard worker. He has great character, and he was so willing to learn. Remember when it was hard to kind of find someone to fit in that spot to play with Austin and Mitch, because one, they're so fast, it's hard to keep up with them. They're so skilled, it's hard to anticipate what they're going to do. He was so willing to learn and ask questions like, where do you want me when this is happening? Like, am I in the right spot? And he's worked with them. And I think Austin Matthews really likes them. You see all those photos of him courtside Raptors games. has really taken him under his wing. I think they've become buddies. It couldn't have worked out better. Like, he has, I don't know how many points on the year, but the most points that Zach Hyman has in a season is 41. Michael Bunting is giving you everything that Zach Hyman could give you and more for pennies compared to what Zach Hyman got in Edmonton. And we're kind of seeing how that is going right now. When you give a role player like that so much money, especially at this age. I love Zach Hyman, just to be clear. Zach Hyman's a great person, great hockey player, but that contract is just insane. It already looks insane. It's going to look insane as he ages. He's a gritty player. He's injuries. We don't know what his longevity is going to be like, but Michael Bunting, it makes that line tick kind of too. Like, those two haven't ever ticked like that. So many people are saying that like Michael Bunting should be buying Austin Matthews dinner every night for this career year. Like, Michael Bunting is putting in just as much work as those two superstars that he's playing with. He doesn't look like he has to keep up the pace at all. So it's so impressive, and like, gotta be one of, if not the best contract in the league right now.
He has been nothing but bang for the buck. He's been incredible. I think he actually he has surpassed Hyman's total. I think as we record this, Bunting somewhere around 43, 44
Yeah,
points,
I know he has over
incredible.
41, but I'm not quite sure exactly where he sits.
Hey, you know what? He's been a really great ad, and if I hate to do this and compare him to another former Capital, I mean, he was more of a flyer back in the day. He reminds me an awful lot of Mike Knuble, just that guy.
Okay.
No nonsense. I'm going to the front of the net, and I'm going to be a you-know-what disturber and tick everybody off. And hey, I can put the puck in the net too. Speaking of, you described him well. Great character, great work ethic. Sounds a lot like our guest this week, Julia. It's been great having you on here. We would love to have you on again in the future, especially maybe around playoff time when the heat gets real spicy.
Totally.
In Toronto. We can't thank you enough for doing this. We know you're incredibly busy. Keep up the great work on TSN 1050, and we love what you're doing. Thanks for joining us here on Instigating.
Thank you so much. Great questions, and thank you for the kind words, the little tire pump. I appreciate it.
Well, hey, what are we doing if we're not pumping each other's tires? It's a hard business, right? We got to pump.
Totally.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Totally.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, my regular co-host Clarky will jump on here. Guaranteed he's got thoughts about what the Leafs have been up to, and we'll talk a little bit about the massive news from the NFL yesterday. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Packer again, and danger Russ Wilson to mile high. We'll dig into that next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarky and Drury, brought to you by our friends, is what I should be saying, at Coolbet Canada. I was so excited about talking with Julia Tocheri that I'm just all out of words for Mr. Chris Clark, who joins the show now. Coolbet Canada, our friends at Listowel Vision Care, see the game, and of course, Listowel Squash Courts. Quick mention, the Listowel Squash Courts, for the local viewers and listeners, Patty Fest is underway here in Listowel, and the Listowel Squash Courts are hosting a Patty Fest squash tournament. You do not need to be a member at the Squash Courts.
Are you going to play, Drury?
Participate? No, because I'll be doing hockey games. So,
and unfortunately, I'm away, so I can't play either. So
he can't play.
The door's open.
Play.
The door's open.
The door's wide open.
I wonder if Jacob Lickers is playing.
Yes, you can take a look at Jacob's ladder and see where Clarky is in the standings. Where are you? Are you still in second?
You know what? I haven't played. I might have because I was away, right?
Yes.
And I went on a little bit of a COVID lockdown. I didn't want to play before I left.
Yes.
And I haven't played since I got back. So I might be
tumbled.
Okay. I don't know.
You're probably still top 10.
Oh, I'm definitely top 10. Like, if anything, I should be like top 3, but
okay.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I wanted to throw that out there. Our friends at Listowel Squash Court. Maybe you go and check it out on during Patty Fest. I believe that's coming up this weekend is when they're having it. Yes, it is
Saturday afternoon.
It is Saturday afternoon, which would be March the 12th. So go check that out. You don't need
they dropped me down to 13th. What kind of crap is that? That is absolute crap.
Clarky, we are going to have a chat with our friends at Listowel Squash Court.
Yeah,
you got to get over there, buddy.
MacArthur?
You got to get over there, Alan. We have
13th place.
We have a problem. We have a problem. All right.
I get it though. I haven't played, so that's the rules.
It is the rules.
That's the
brother.
rules. I played Greg Ford, who everyone was, talking about. He was the next challenger coming up. And have I told you the result of that? So I was in second. Greg was in third, I guess. And he was up 2-1, and I stormed back and beat him 3-2. The last game went into overtime.
Wow, you did the anti-leaf.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for telling me.
That was uncalled for. Now,
Thanks for telling me.
Julie, our friend Julie Tocheri is going to watch this back and go, screw this guy crapping on the Leafs after I leave. I do want to dig it. We had a great chat with Julia Tocheri, the host of Leafs Lunch on TSN 1050, and of course, longtime member of the Bar Down crew. Bar Down's awesome. Love their content. And of course, her and I are going to meet up, Clarky. She is going to be the rinkside reporter for TSN at the Top Prospects game, which is going to be March 23rd at the Odd in Kitchener. I can't wait. So Julie and I will bump into each other. Of course, our friend Craig Button will be there.
What night of the week
Craig
is that?
will be there. It is a Wednesday night. You want to come along? I can maybe get you a media credential.
We'll see.
I'm a big wheel now. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. That's not true at all. I have no pull at all. I'm just happy to be in the building. Yeah. All right. You know who else is happy to be in the building lately? Austin Matthews. And Julie and I dug into this a lot. Man, is he ever on fire. I said to her, and Clarky, this is big praise for me. And you'll appreciate this.
Because I'm going to bring something up here if you don't do it first. So
sure.
Go ahead.
I think he's still really good. This number 8 guy. We are watching the torch be passed though. We are watching the torch be passed. Matthews.
I know at the beginning of the year, I think we were like 15, 20 games in, and you were like, yeah, Matthews might have won. He's not going to win it this year. Number 8's running away. He's like 11 up or 9 up on him now. Like this guy's got 43 goals.
Up. He's 7 up.
7 up. That's a good drink. But yeah, so he's been unbelievable.
Sponsor us, yeah.
Like the game last
I don't think I said that Ovechkin was going to run away with it.
You did. I will go.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. Sorry, you didn't say he was going to run away with it, but you said he was going to win the Rocket, and he's not. So plain and simple, he's not.
Geez, was I on something that day? Because even I don't feel like I would have said that.
You say stuff you don't remember all the time, Drury. Like that's the problem. That is the problem. And like if I had time, I would go through every show and figure out what show it was.
What's your point?
That game last night. No, just that game last night. On Tuesday night against who'd they play? Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, they blow a 3-0 lead. Here we go again. But that third period is pretty exciting. And the way Austin Matthews just sort of took over that game, and that line of Matthews and Marner and Bunting. Wow. That by far in my mind, I don't watch every hockey game, but that's got to be the hottest line in the NHL. Has to be
hottest line for sure right now. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
all three guys are contributing.
There are other lines, but that line right now is ticking.
And Mike Bunting, like this guy,
Bunting, yeah,
like he came in here not on that line at the beginning of the year. He earned his way on it. Like they basically gave it to Ricky to start and said, Nick, you're playing with these guys, and he couldn't do it. And it wasn't even close to being able to do it. But Bunting is coming in here and he has been outstanding. He's an agitator. He's a diver. He's everything you hate about a guy on another team, but you sort of like him when he's on your team. Like, yeah, he dives. I get it. I don't like the diving part, but I love the agitating part. And the Leafs haven't had a guy like that in a long time. I think he's a poor man's Darcy Tucker in a way, because Darcy got under the skin of the opponents all the time. And I think Bunting is doing the same thing. And he like, I don't know what he says. I don't know what he says when he chirps the guys, but he must tick that other team off because they are always ticked off at this guy. And I love it.
And he's quite a bit bigger than Darcy too. Like Darcy was a little guy and everything. And I said this to Julie as well. And I'd love your thoughts. I'd love your thoughts just on where he ranks in terms of his, perceived eligibility, if you will, for the
Calder.
Eligible.
He's 100% eligible.
He is eligible.
Yeah. So let's get over it.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's get over it. I said
eligible.
The same thing. He's eligible, and there's only one guy really right now, in my opinion, that is close to him for the Calder. Right now, I'd give it to Bunting. He's eligible.
You would, eh?
I would.
So who's the guy, Seider? Is that his name?
Moritz Seider. And again, he's the one guy that's dangerous Not danger. I don't think Bunting's going to care if he wins. It would be really cool if he did. Yeah. But the thing with Seider, and I know Detroit got smacked the other night by Arizona, which
9-2.
Now, but I'll say this.
Wow.
What Seider's doing as a defenseman in this league is really something. So that'll be the one thing that people say, because the consensus among the hockey community is it's really hard to adjust to the next level of play as a defenseman.
Yeah.
So that might be the one thing. But Bunting right now, if the season was over today, I think that he would get it. He'd get my vote. And you got to remember too, like he's got that physical element that, hey, Darcy Tucker was physical. I mean, he was a small dog with big bite, but Bunting's got that size advantage. And I said to our friend Julia Tocheri that he reminds me an awful lot. And I hate to do this to you, Clarky. He reminds me a lot of former Capital, but more so longtime Flyer, Mike Knuble. He reminds me a lot of Mike Knuble.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. If you had to say what guy would you want to build, not even build a team around, who would you rather have for the future, Seider or Bunting? I don't think there's any question you'd rather have Seider. However, this year in their rookie seasons, and he is eligible. I don't care how old he is. He's eligible. That's in the rules. He's the guy. I think the guy. I don't know if he's going to win it. Who votes on the Calder? Do you know?
Believe the Professional Hockey Writers Association.
So if he pisses off the opponents on the ice, maybe he pisses off the opponent. I don't know. I know it's supposed to be fine like that, but anyway, he is a heck of a player. He has fit into that line. Yes, he's playing with two superstars, and that's going to be a knock against him too. But you know what? Ask Nick Ritchie. It ain't easy to play with superstars sometimes. And this guy has been like, have the Leafs missed Zach Hyman? No. The answer is no.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. Absolutely no. And the Edmonton Oilers paid him 5 point whatever. Good for Zach Hyman. He wasn't getting it here. He wasn't worth that here. And I think he definitely should be a finalist for the Calder for sure. And we'll see if he wins it.
Like I won't have a problem. Like, hey, I love other guys involved in the race too. I love Trevor Zegras. I think he's excellent. He's one of my favorite young players to watch. He's fallen out of it a little bit for me though. When you compare him to these two guys, I won't be upset if Moritz Seider wins. I've watched a lot of his games. I'm very, very impressed with the guy. And I don't want to, levy too much pressure on.
They gave up 10 goals against the Leafs and they gave up 9 against Arizona.
The Red Wings look like they've got another dynamite Nick Lidstrom-esque type guy. Perfect. Is what I'll say about him.
Perfect.
But this year, Bunting, I agree. Like it would be a travesty if he's not a finalist. Like
right. And the age thing, if the age thing gets in the way, it's a joke because the rule's the rule.
The rule's the rule.
What was the wild guy last year, right? Like
Kirill Kaprizov,
right. Kaprizov. He was 24. So he won.
Yeah.
So like get over it. Right.
Well, and I said this to Julia when she was on with me. I obviously you don't want Makarov winning at 31. Yes,
but there is a rule. What's the cutoff? It's like he's right there. He's right on the edge. Right, and that's the cutoff
right there.
Yeah, so he's eligible.
Yeah, he's eligible, and I mean, like if he's not a finalist, like what are we doing here, folks? Right. Mind you, hey, if there's weird stuff that occurs with people that vote on NHL awards, it happens in this league. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
it's almost as bad as Baseball Hall of Fame voting. Anyway,
so who wins the Hart?
Right now, honestly, and it's closer than the Calder for me. I would vote for Matthews. Mm-hmm. I would vote for Matthews right now. And Shesterkin is doing, wow, like he is doing gross stuff.
I think Shesterkin, he's got the Vezina. Like there's no question about the Vezina.
I don't even think anybody's close.
And I think he will be a finalist in the Hart. Does a goalie deserve to win a Hart? Sure, if he's the best, and he shows he's the best. I think it's a two-man race between those two guys. I totally agree with you. I agree two teams that are basically tied in points, the Rangers and the Leafs. But can you imagine the difference if you put Shesterkin in the Leaf net? where the Leafs would be compared to where, you know what I'm saying? Like if you compare teams, I think the Leafs have a better team, but I don't think there's any question the Rangers have a better goalie.
There's no argument for me on either of those. And can goalies win the Hart? Yeah, I mean, Carey Price did it in arguably the greatest individual season by a goalie you've ever seen. Dominic Hasek,
Matthews will get a lot of votes. So Matthews will get a lot of votes. He'll get the American votes. He'll get. I think he should win.
I think he should win though, because I just think that the transformation of his game, and he was always a good two-way center, even as a draft eligible player.
And he's going to probably score 60 plus.
Yeah, it's in his wheelhouse
for sure.
60. Julie and I touched on that too. 60's not out of the question here.
No, what they played 53 games, something like that. Like, he's got lots of time to get a lot of goals, and
60's that thing.
On.
It would be great to just see him break Rick Vive's franchise record. That would be awesome. But 60 really puts you in rarefied air. 50's magical. Sure. 60 is like it's just that next level of all-time greats score 60.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't happen very often. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think they were saying since 2017, he has now scored the most goals in the National Hockey League. He just took over from Ovechkin.
Since he has entered the league, he is now, as we come into tonight's action, it's Wednesday, and the Caps are playing Edmonton as we speak. Ovi looking to pass Jaromir Jagr for sole possession of third all-time. Matthews has one more goal than Ovechkin since he entered the league as we record.
They've been going Ovechkin was well ahead, and Matthews now in the last year or so is
as he would be. He was healthy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And also, and there's something to be said for that too, right?
Be interesting to see that Edmonton game tonight too. There's a lot of Ukrainians out there in the Alberta province. And,
he'll get booed.
I wonder how
he got booed in Calgary. He got booed in Calgary. People are booing him. I as if it's all his fault or something. And we've talked about this before. I don't want to go down the Ovechkin Putin road again on this episode. He deserves to be catching flack for how over the top supportive he's been of that evil piece of garbage.
Well said.
That's just the way it is. But you know what? Like, two things can be true. He deserves that criticism. I'm not going to stop cheering for him, and I'm not taking my sign down, and I'm not going to, remove my tattoo. Like, people are like, well, you should do that. You should stop and you should get rid of your stuff. I'm like, are you out of your mind? No, I still am. No athlete other than Tom Brady has brought me nearly as much great memories watching sports than Ovi. And while he deserves flack for his very questionable political beliefs, whether they're his actual beliefs or not, it's all over his social media.
Yeah.
While he absolutely deserves that and needs to take that in the chin, I'm not going to stop cheering for him and cheering.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming
not doing
from.
it.
I think it's
tough. I hate it.
It's tough. It's tough for sure.
I hate it.
Like, as much as no one knows Alex Ovechkin except his friends and family, right? Like, you don't know, like,
I'm not best friends with the guy.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you might say he's a great guy. I met him once or met him twice or met him 3. He was a great guy. That doesn't mean what kind of a person he is. And I'm not judging him either way. I remember, and this has nothing to do political wise, but I went to a NASCAR race. Can't remember where it was. Might have even been in Indianapolis.
I remember you telling me this.
And I was a big Tony Stewart fan. And I had a Tony Stewart hat, and I was a huge fan. And I came out of that after meeting him because I had a hot pass and I was right in the pits and met him. He was a complete and utter jerk. And I basically threw my hat away and didn't cheer for him anymore. And is that the way he is? I don't know. Right? Maybe he is a real good guy, but around media or fans, he can be a little grumpy and ornery. I don't know. I don't know what he's like. All I know is he touched me the wrong way that day. And I hated the guy and I don't like him now. And now he's on TV and, he was
selling his house. Are you going to put an offer in?
How much is he selling it for? Maybe
$30 million home with the trout lake in the middle of it.
Do you want to go on it with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
So
get up
anyway,
every morning
we
and
just
fish.
don't know. As people, we don't know what athletes are like. We really don't know.
100%.
Like, yes, I've got to know some athletes working for Leafs for the years I was there, and there was a few guys on the current roster when I was there. Darcy Tucker, one of them. I thought he was a fabulous guy. Always very friendly to me. Great. And then some of the retired guys who I worked with, like Bob McGill and Rick Vive, great guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, I met Mike Johnson a few times. Great guy, right? We know Carlo a little bit, but do we really know him? Who knows? So, there's the politics it's a hard thing. That's all I'm saying. There's a hard thing. I personally have a little bit of a change in my view with him that I wish he would.
I don't blame you.
Speak up a little bit and not shy away from it and not say I'm a hockey player, not a politician. Meanwhile, he has been outspoken about Putin before in a positive way. And now it's negative and he won't say anything. And that
he was at his wedding, Clarky.
Well, there you go. Right. And, the Ovechkin family probably is a wealthy family in Russia and maybe taken care of very well right now. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, it is a touchy subject and I don't let's talk sports here.
It is. I mean, final point, you think back on the way the West Germany players in soccer were treated for a long time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, was that fair? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Ireland divide, it's tough, man. Yeah. Let's talk about sports.
Sure. Yep.
Let's talk about sports. No, I think Matthews has definitely taken on the mantle of the goal scoring guy. When you think of the first guy now scoring goals, that second goal against Seattle is beautiful. He's on a heater. It's great.
Yep.
He'd get my vote for the Hart. Lots of guys still on the trade block here, hearing a lot of rumors about Jacob Chikrin. By the time our viewers and listeners see and hear this, the Leafs will have played Arizona, hoping, as Julia said, we see maybe a 7-1 drubbing finally that the Leafs should have. Jake Chikrin's
new father might be flying tomorrow.
Felipe, man.
Right?
Felipe,
he plays a shift. He played a shift in Detroit. The team owner flew him back to Phoenix to
I was blown away he did that.
Right. Maybe the
somebody will miss a bonus check now.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. It's a nice thing he did for Phil.
That is a nice thing to do, I guess.
Congrats, Phil.
So he'll be playing tomorrow in Toronto, and then we'll go from there. But as an outsider, is JT Miller the guy the Leafs need?
I don't know. Me personally, and I heard Ray Ferraro talking about it a bit on Overdrive. I would address their defense. I don't think that they really need much more up front. I really don't. I actually like the balance of their team. And yes, are there some guys that maybe don't necessarily play all the time the quote unquote playoff way? William Nylander can, be equal parts incredible and entertaining and equal parts frustrating and bewildering.
You're right.
I understand.
He hasn't been good lately, but last year in the playoffs, he was their best player.
He was their best. That's what
that's the scary thing, right? Because so I have fun at work with my boss, Eric Hafling. So he was saying to me today, he goes, let's get this deal done. We need JT Miller. I said, okay, who do you want? Right. And he was acting as the GM for Vancouver and I was acting as Dubas. Right. Now the GM Vancouver, what's his name? Patrick something or other.
Patrick Alvin.
Swedish guy. Anyway, Alvin. Yeah. So I offered him Mrazek and Nylander and Dermott for Demko and Miller. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that deal.
If you were Vancouver?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that deal.
So I changed Dermott. I changed Dermott to Liljegren, and I
still wouldn't do that. I still wouldn't do that deal. I'm not trading Demko.
I don't even know if they could do it by the salary, but
there would be some salary workarounds. But me personally, as Vancouver, being inventive there, sure. I'm not trading Demko. That's just a complete non-starter for me. If I'm Alvin. Sitting in the GM chair for the Canucks. Miller, I've heard people say as well, and I almost kind of agree with this too. I wouldn't trade him. I would just keep him. Because what are you realistically going to expect to get back?
That's right. And that's what I'm sort of mystified at why he's on the block.
Well, because they're going to miss the playoffs. And
I know, but he's not a bad ticket. He's 5 and something, right? 5 and change. He's not a bad ticket. You trade Nylander, who makes more, because that's probably what it'll cost the Leafs to get him. I think they're not going to get him for much less. And you know what? Like, he's not going to score maybe as much as Nylander, even though he's having a great year. But like Nick Robertson's addition on this line lately, on the line with Tavares and Nylander, Robertson can put the puck in the net. He's a goal scorer.
He can shoot.
If you can replace maybe the goals through Robertson, then and Adam Miller, you're adding a lot more grit for sure. So
there's no doubt about
from
that.
the Leafs perspective, I'd love to see it. Is there a fit with the Vancouver Canucks? I don't know. I mean, they have Pettersson there. He's Swedish, and they have a Swedish general manager, and Nylander's Swedish, and right. So who knows? Who knows how it all works out?
Well, our friend Dark Guy,
his brother too.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, he hasn't panned out, eh?
No.
That was the thing. Well, like Dark Guy suggests that when we had him on, like, you know, is there a Nylander Miller fit here? And if I'm the Canucks, if I'm gonna deal him, that's the type of guy I want. A guy with some term. Yeah. Yes, there's the storyline there where he's Swedish, goal scoring. They've had success pairing up Swedes there before,
and so is Liljegren. So give us Tyler Myers.
Yeah,
what does he make?
Oh, Tyler Myers. I think he's making $5 or $6 million.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah. I mean, he's fallen off since winning the Calder, hasn't he? But
Jake Muzzin's skating again, so that's some positive news anyway. Boy, when he hit his head there, I thought second concussion in a couple of weeks. He might be out for. He might be on. What's that guy's name? I keep forgetting the guy's name. And not Robota Island. I've said it last show. The guy in Tampa.
Oh,
Kucherov Island. Yeah. Come back in the playoffs and have open up a little space. But it's going to be exciting. The Leafs, Boston's hot on their tail now. You know, only 5 or 6 points behind them.
They played a lot better lately.
The Leafs, though, still hot on Tampa's tail, and like Florida gives up more goals than Leafs. And I had this discussion, I'll call it, with a friend of mine the other day, and they're like, Florida's going to win. Florida's better. Florida's way better. And I'm like, why? Better defense, better goals. I said, look at like Bobrovsky's goals against average is higher than Campbell's. And like they give up more goals. They score more, but they give up more. So don't tell me. That's what I hate about fans sometimes. They just see the Leafs all the time. They watch the Leafs constantly. And they see a team with 7-8 more points than them. Just assume that they're better defensively and goaltending wise. Take a look deeper. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be context to everything. The thing with Bobrovsky is we've seen him be incredibly dominant before, and we've seen that recently of Campbell. And
first half of the season, we were talking about Vezina finalist. He was at the All-Star game,
and I wouldn't give up on him.
Like, no, I wouldn't.
Not yet.
I'm not giving up on Jack.
Not yet.
He's lost his confidence. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I will say that I just think that the Leafs. Like if we're talking about the big players on the chipboard, I would rather them somehow go get Chychrun than get JT Miller. I think it would do more for the team.
And you won't have to give up Nylander for him.
No, you don't. No, not for Jacob Chychrun.
Not even
right
close.
now. No. I think Arizona just take like empty salary or something. I don't know. Future home of Shea Weber. Just you wait. I would rather them do that. Of course, Claude Giroux still out on the board. Lot of names swirling around him. Florida, Colorado, Minnesota have been talked about too.
Hey, if they do trade Shea Weber, does that get Nashville off the hook?
No, I don't think so.
Still does it?
I think they still get hit with that cap penalty.
Yeah,
because they signed the deal.
I know, but I thought I read something about if he's traded twice, something happens, but maybe not.
I don't know. There's a lot of weird rules.
Yeah.
I'll say again, and I said it a couple years ago with the Roberto Luongo deal on our old show. It's unfair. Those contracts were legal when they were signed. I think it's so dumb that they're punishing teams. And Minnesota, you want to talk about a team that's going to get nailed. Minnesota with the Parise and Suter buyouts, they are going to get hammered next year with cap penalties. I think it's something like $9+ million. Of just dead cap. I think that's incredibly unfair. I just think it's unfair.
That is crazy.
I really do. Anyway, Speaking of unfair, boy, it can feel unfair to be a sports fan sometimes. And I really do wonder how the folks down in Seattle are feeling today, a day after, an earth-shattering trade in the NFL. Dangerous Russ Wilson, he is no longer a member of the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, led them to a Super Bowl, almost led them to 2 if Pistol Pete had just ran the ball, but they decided to throw it to my Patriots instead. But on all time, the greatest Seahawk ever, no question. He gets flipped over to Denver. And, Clarky, it's funny how the NFL and sports works sometimes. I saw this tweet today from Pro Football Talk. They're a great follow on Twitter. In 2012, the Broncos used a second-round pick to select Brock Osweiler. Who? When Russell Wilson was still on the board. Russell was a second-round pick, ladies and gentlemen. 10 years later, Denver has given up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 3 players to acquire Russ. So, boy, craziness. What a trade. Man, that's going to reshape some things in the NFL, because obviously Seattle is going to be not very good now for a couple of years. But honestly, Clark, I don't know what you thought of it or what you think generally of these massive trades that happen sometimes. We don't see it in hockey as much.
We don't, because there's and that's why hockey.
Seconds, holy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's because of the freedom that the teams have. You can't do that in the NHL because of the salary cap, right?
The NFL has a cap.
Yeah, okay.
way higher.
But if the NHL just had a luxury tax, just to give the teams a little more freedom, to me, a luxury
even
tax,
a franchise tag.
Okay, but a luxury tax to me helps the lesser lights of the league as well, because they get that tax, right? So if the Leafs went over the cap,
it's doing wonders for baseball.
Well, there's another thing we can talk about, because they have done some agreements, I thought, even though they don't have no more shift from what I hear.
Yeah, the rules
right? No more shift.
They're fine with the rule changes.
Right. So no more shift. What do you think?
Limit
no more shift.
Yeah, I don't care. I think it's good. I know there's a crowd that go, oh, well, they've been doing the shift for years, and they shifted on Ted Williams. I'm like, yeah, but not this much.
No, not even close to this.
You got guys out there that are pulling out pieces of laminated paper for every hitter and going, right. Oh, time to go on this side of second base.
Yeah.
I really think is that we need more balls in play. Talk to me. Yeah, I know the games are too long, this and that.
Well, they say they're going to get the pitch clock in there.
Yes, the pitch clock, and they tried that out last year to okay results mostly, I thought, from minor leaguers. I don't think people would have a problem with the games being as long as they are if there was more exciting plays. And by limiting, in the very least, if you're going to tell me, okay, we're going full ban on the shift, 2 guys on this side, 2 guys on that side. In the very least, you can't have infielders stepping 8 paces back into the outfield.
No, you can't.
That's what the outfield's for, guys.
Right.
There's got to be more balls.
You have a rover. I can get it. Right. In slow pitch, you have
balls
a rover.
In play.
You don't in baseball.
What do you think of
outfielders? Infielders are infielders. And they have to stick to their positions. There has to be some sort of perimeter of where each player can go. Let's be honest here.
In basketball, you can't stand in the key for more than 5 seconds. Every sport has this. You got to pass it over the blue line before you go in hockey. Come on. Let's make offense a thing in baseball.
The goalies can't go in the corners.
Yes. Come on.
There's rules.
I'm fine with this. What do you think of the bigger bases? I don't even really care. It's okay.
What is that going to accomplish?
I don't know.
Is it just going to make it easier to get, to have a guy safe instead of out because the bag's
I'm sure that's part of it. They are quite a bit bigger. And
how much bigger are they? Sorry.
They're not quite double the size. I would going
to happen for sure.
Yeah, this is something they want. And I think they're about 20% bigger, give or take. I could be wrong on the math, but basically these new ones, they've got these grooves on them that water wick so that they don't ever get wet and there's more grip on them. So
good. So no one will fall.
Whatever, and advertising on jerseys, which we knew that was coming.
Is there going to be ads on the bases?
I don't think so.
That. Yeah,
that will happen probably. There'll be a McDonald's M.
Oh, look at all this room. Look at all this room.
Starbucks logo on second.
Exactly. Exactly.
If only that was in when Ricky Henderson picked third base.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Big Star
Yeah.
Rush logo.
They should make them really heavy so a guy can't do that again.
Or the Hamburglar. Imagine if the Hamburglar's on there. That would have been good.
Exactly. Who knows what'll happen.
Really quick.
They're not going to miss that much. I really don't think.
So basically now the point of contention, as Ken Rosenthal, the best in the biz, tweeted, Major League Baseball answered the Players Association proposal. This was today on Wednesday, by offering 3 options: agree to eliminate draft pick compensation for when you sign free agents, and examine having an international draft. 2, give Major League Baseball the option to reopen the CBA in 2024 if the union won't agree to an international draft, which nobody wants that. Or 3, agree to the international draft and they'll eliminate draft pick compensation completely. My personal opinion, Clarky, on this is I hate it. I don't want an international draft. And this is now they're trying to spin it on, now the players won't agree to this perfectly reasonable deal. And it's not perfectly reasonable. I would hate an international draft. Fernando Tatis Jr. said it best. This will ruin independent leagues in other countries like the Dominican Republic by making the draft include international players that typically have to be bought with signing bonuses after service time in their home leagues. This will decimate world baseball. I don't like it. And I don't want anything to do with an international draft. I don't know what your opinion is.
I haven't thought about it, to tell you the truth.
I hate it.
When I first hear about it, I'm like, well, why not? Why wouldn't anyone eligible to play baseball should be in a draft? Like, why not?
Yeah, it's
like that in hockey.
I know.
And if you're not drafted, you can be an undrafted. You can sign a guy. So why should it be different in baseball? Just
because of that. Because of that whole thing with control and the way that team control works in baseball. You draft a Fernando Tatis Jr. out of the Dominican League.
Yeah.
And then that team controls him. They're not going to let him play in the Dominican League. They're going to bring him over here and make him play in the minors for $10,000 a year in cheese sandwiches.
But you have a choice. Guys in the NHL can stay and play in Sweden if they want.
Not in Major League Baseball, they can't. And that's where this all comes down to, Clarky. At the end of the day, this is players fighting for the right to have the owners not have so much control over their livelihood.
Why can't you just have a draft, but the guys have a choice until they're a certain age where they play?
The owners won't do that.
Why?
Because they're baseball owners, Clarky.
But if I'm not paying you to play in Sweden, why does the owner care? I can't wrap my head around why they.
Because the owners are not going to design this draft where they have to pay guys out bonuses in the old system and have it where they'll just let them stay in their home league and play over there. They're going to bring them here and make them play for peanuts because they have control over them. And that's the issue.
Yeah, okay. I guess I just don't understand it enough to get into it because I
barely understand it, Clarky.
Yeah.
I just don't want the manipulation of service time, which that's really what this is.
Well, that's already happening now.
That happened
with Junior, right?
I know. And that stuff should not happen. Baseball is the only league professionally where it doesn't matter how good you are when you're younger.
Yeah.
The teams will ensure that you are not in the lineup enough that they maintain financial control over you and can continue paying you $570,000 for years and years.
I get that argument. I get how they need to fix that. However, that to me should be a separate negotiation from a draft. That's all I'm saying.
Ideally, I agree with you, but the owners will not do that. They will not give that up and then cave on the other thing.
They'll lose more games and we won't have baseball.
Well, baseball, again, we're recording this Wednesday, March 9th. They have announced today the cancellation of 2 more series start season, which would take them to April 14th. Of course, April 15th, the day that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. One would hope that the owners are not short-sighted enough to let it stretch beyond that, because April 15th, a very special day in sports, but particularly North American sports and baseball. Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. I really hope we don't see that. And hey, who knows? Maybe by the time this airs on Friday, there will be a deal.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Could you think they're that close?
Well, I mean, they're closer on other things. They agreed to these new rules, and they agreed on they're getting closer within a few million, apparently, if you believe the insiders, on the collective bargaining tax and everything like that, or the competitive balance tax, I should say.
I think they need to play
bargaining on my mind.
I think they need to pay players more because the price of gas has gone through the roof, and they can't afford it. They got to be millionaires can't afford the gas. You can't afford it.
Well, keep in mind, there's not a lot of millionaires in baseball. There's not as many as you think, player-wise, when you look at the grand scope. Plenty of guys making $10,000 eating cheese sandwiches, like I said. All right. We could go on about this. Man, I could do a whole show. Maybe I'll do a bonus video on my frustrations with this CBA thing. But we're out of time this week. Boy, we really appreciate our friend Julia Tocheri of TSN 1050's Leafs Lunch for joining us
on the sports station in Canada.
Best sports station and Leafs Lunch. Hey, if you're not watching and listening to that as a Leaf fan, you're just missing out. Her and Al's brother, Mike DiStefano, his real name. They are fantastic. Follow them on social media. They're great.
Who's Al DiStefano?
What?
Who's Al DiStefano?
I don't know.
Is there such a person?
I don't know.
Like, is he actually Al's brother?
No. That I can't remember why they started calling him that.
Okay.
But he does have the good theme song. Who sings that? Call me Al. Who sings
Paul
that?
Simon.
That's Paul Simon. That's right. That's not him and Garfunkel, though, right?
No,
that's just Paul.
Just Paul.
Yeah,
correct.
Of course.
Correct.
Well, you could argue Simon and Garfunkel's just Paul. So I'm sorry, Garfunkel. All right. You can watch this show Friday nights at 8.
If he calls in, we're in trouble.
We are in trouble. Yeah, they might copyright claim me for singing the chorus.
We'll get him on the show.
Fridays at 8 on White TV Channel 6 and Sunday nights at 9, debuting on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. We're on social media at Instigating Pod. Thanks to our sponsors, CoolBet Canada, Listowel Vision Care, See the Game, and Listowel Squash Courts. That's Clarky. I'm Drury. This has been another great week of Instigating. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.